12 of the fantasy football season, and here's the top 12 defense DST units. I'm ranking this week number 1, the Dallas Cowboys. So this Cowboy defense has been a turnover machine this season. They found the end zone in many games, and this week here with a great matchup versus the Commanders, where last week they gave up 6 turnovers to a poor New York Giant team for the most part this season. I think the Cowboys early and often could create turnovers. I think they could get pressure on Sam Howell. And on Thanksgiving, usually the Cowboys, they play great football. So this week versus Washington, one of the weaker offensive lines in the league. I think this defense causes havoc. Number 2, the Kansas City Chiefs. So the Chiefs, a great matchup at the Vegas Raiders. And this Chiefs defense, they played good, 11 versus Philly, but their offense just couldn't score in the second half. So this week, a great matchup at the Raiders. Like I mentioned, Aiden O'Connell in their quarterback is the rookie. And this Raider offense really hasn't been scoring points or making much impact. Last week in Miami, only scoring 13 points, even though they were in the game the whole way. But I think Kansas City goes in there after a bad loss and dominates this game. And the defense makes some big plays. Number 3, the Miami Dolphins. So the Dolphins defense last week, it was a solid performance versus the Vegas Raiders. And now Black Friday, first game ever on Black Friday at the New York Jets. And this Jet team going from Zach Wilson to Tim Boyle, I don't think it's really going to make a difference. The turnovers are still going to be there. The sacks and just not scoring the football are going to be there. So right now with Jalen Ramsey back in the lineup over the last few weeks and a game-saving pick to end the game last week, and also Bradley Chubb rushing the quarterback, and Xavier Howard, this is a solid defense and versus a bad offensive line and a bad quarterback. I think Miami goes in there and takes care of business in this one. Number 4, the Denver Broncos. So the Broncos defense, after giving up 70 points early in the season to the Miami Dolphins, they've made personnel changes and it's worked out for them. Starting the season 1-5, now 5-5 is Denver, and a great matchup with the Cleveland Browns coming to town with Dorian Thompson-Robinson, the starting quarterback. So far, Robinson, he really hasn't looked good, not moving the football down the field. No one really getting involved, and their offensive line banged up as well for this Cleveland team. So Denver, they've been holding teams down. We know a few weeks ago holding Kansas City down to 9 points in that game, and then even beating Buffalo, and then last week as well winning the game at the end. So Denver playing great football, especially at home. And this week, I think their defense comes out and plays well. Once again, number 5, staying in the same game, is the Cleveland Browns. So this Brown defense, we know they're led by Myles Garrett, Zadarius Smith, and then in the secondary, Denzel Ward, one of the best corners in the league. So Russell Wilson, he definitely had a bounce-back season, no doubt about it. But this offense still is only scoring 23 points per game. And this Brown defense, this is how they're going to win ball games this season, by great defense and running the football effectively. So right now, I think they could get pressure on Wilson. Obviously, we're one of the best pass rushers in the league, and they could shut down Cortland Sutton for a majority of the game with Denzel Ward on him. So I think their defense, even in this one, where their offense is going to put the D a lot on the field, I believe. This Brown defense all season long has been going out there and making plays. Number 6, the Pittsburgh Steelers. So the Steelers defense has been a solid unit all season, no doubt about it. This week, a good matchup at Cincinnati with Joe Burrow out for the season with a broken wrist. And Jake Browning, he didn't look like a total quarterback that was lost out there, but still, I think this Steelers team is going to cause havoc in this one, and it's going to be a long day for Jake Browning for the most part. I know they got all their weapons with possibly T. Higgins coming back as well in this game, but with TJ Watt, an elite pass rusher, and Minka Fitzpatrick possibly returning in this game as well. And this team shaking things up is Pittsburgh on the offensive end, getting rid of Canna as the offensive coordinator. Maybe if this offense could stay on the field a little bit more, it will help the defense. Number 7, the Tennessee Titans. So the Tennessee Titans is a 1-week use only. I have them in the top 12 this week versus the Carolina Panthers, that one of the worst offenses in the league. Pretty much nothing going all season for Carolina, besides a couple good games by Chuba Hubbard, and Adam Thielen's been a bright spot, top 10 in fantasy points at the wide receiver position. So right now, Tennessee, we know you could pass the football on them, but for the most part, they could stop the run. And in this game versus a young quarterback like Bryce Young, who's made a lot of mistakes this season and taken a lot of sacks, I think Tennessee at home, where their defense has played better this season than it has on the road, could take advantage of Bryce Young and the poor offensive line and go out there and make some plays. A 1-week streamer and use only. Number 8, the San Francisco 49ers. So the 49ers, they've wrote the ship over the last 2 weeks after their bye week. And adding Chase Young to this defense is just a great thing, obviously. So right now they go to the 12th man in Seattle. Geno Smith, even if he plays in this game, he's not going to be 100% after getting knocked out for a quarter at the Los Angeles Rams with the shoulder. And if it's Drew Lock, then this 49er off defense, sky's the limit for them in this game. So right now, defense playing better, getting to the quarterback, holding teams down over the last 2 games, only giving up 17 points. And once again this week at Seattle, where it could be a tight contested game between these division rivals. And obviously Kenneth Walker most likely out as well. I like San Francisco at 8. Number 9, the New York Giants. Last week the Giants creating 6 turnovers in that game versus a mediocre, not a horrible offense, but a mid offense in the Washington Commanders. And this week here versus the New England Patriots, where they're one of the worst offenses in the league. We don't know 100% if it's going to be Mac Jones or Bailey Zapp in this game. But in my opinion, it doesn't matter who the quarterback is for this Patriot team. They just can't get the football down the field. Their offensive line isn't blocking well, and they don't really have a big threat as a number 1 wide receiver. So after coming off a great defensive performance last week, I think the Giants once again have a good game, and this time it's at home versus the Patriots. Number 10, the New Orleans Saints. So this Saint defense, led by Cam Jordan, has been a decent unit, a bend but don't break unit, where they're giving up mid-teens, low 20s most of the games this season. And this week here with Desmond Ridder back at starting quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons, I think the Saint defense can make a few plays. Ridder, he's been a turnover machine and not a quarterback that really can find the end zone. And with all those elements, I think New Orleans coming off the bye week as well, that's going to help them to feel refreshed and have a good game plan to beat Atlanta, and for this defense to make plays and stops. Number 11, the New England Patriots. So the New England Patriots, their defense really hasn't been good this season. Matthew Judon, he's missed multiple weeks this season. I doubt he comes back in this one. And Gonzalez, the impressive rookie corner, he's been out for the season as well. But this week here, a decent matchup with the Giants, where we know rookie quarterbacks throughout Bill Belichick's time over there in New England really haven't done anything. So I think they could get to Tommy DeVito early and often in this game. This is going to be a sloppy game where both defenses, I believe, go out there and play good games, and where both offenses really can't move the football efficiently. So right now, New England, even with missing pieces and not playing well this season, versus a weak Giant offensive line and a rookie quarterback, could have a decent performance. And the 12th and final defense I'm ranking is the Cincinnati Bengals. I know the Bengal defense hasn't played well for the most part this season, but a good matchup versus the Pittsburgh Steelers, where their offense has been non-existent besides Jalen Warren for the most part of this season here. Deontay Johnson last few weeks not doing much. George Pickens, I know Matt Canada out as the offensive coordinator, but in a week's time I don't really think it's going to change things, because Kenny Pickett, in my opinion, just really isn't a good quarterback. So in a tough division game, which both teams need, because obviously if Cincinnati wins, they're 6-5, and if the Steelers lose, obviously they're 6-5. So a big swing game for both these teams, where I think both defenses go out there versus poor offenses for the most part and play well. So that's the top 12 defense DST units I'm ranking for week 12 of the fantasy football season.